प्रभु फ्राइडे सैटरडे कभी भी डाल जब आपको दिन दिन कितना देना है तो इसकी जितनी इच्छा करे आपकी फ्राइडे सुपर हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, my pranams. Okay, shall we go ahead and start?
Yes, please.
And I thought I was going to have to call you and tell you it wasn't going to work because my connection was bad. We have a bad, there's several connections that don't work at the same time. It's a bad gateway or something. I don't know what it is. Anyway, go ahead and start now. Gora Gruganya Gana Gota Goloruharam Goranga Gura Tamagopyara Kolpa Briksham Gopala Gada Ratidam Yati Singha Gora Govinda Kavaram Satatam Uttama Adama Kichuna Bachi Jachi Hadile Kola Kahe Premananda Emona Goranga Ridoya Dariya Bola Bhaja Goranga Kaha Goranga Laha Gorangera Namare Jai Jana Goranga Bhaje Se Hoyamara Pranare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yeshaiva Padambuja Bhakti Labhya Prema Bhidana Prabhumata Tasmai Jagan Mangala Mangalaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Madgavirapi Gopala Sri Kriyat Kripaya Juri Tadaiva Sambhaya Pitva Rishayastat Priya Janaha Shri Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Sasanatana Rupaka Gopala Raghunatha Brajabala Bapahimam Vancha Kalpadarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, good afternoon everybody. Nice to see everyone here today. I hope everyone's okay. So we're here in Jagannath Puri Dham during this crazy lockdown period. We'd all like to try to be together, but we can't right now. So let's see. So we've been speaking something about the principles of guru and disciple in our last sessions. And in our last session, we spoke about these two principles of drashta, the seer, and drishta, the one to be seen, and how very, very important that principle is. There's a saying I've heard in Hindi, which I'll try to say in my very poor pronunciation, please forgive me. The Guru Mili Laki Laki, Sishya Mili Ek. That it's really not so hard to find a bona fide guru. There's millions and millions of bona fide gurus. In fact, the vast majority of the living entities who are created by Krishna are pure devotees, are bona fide gurus, and there's a very, very small, tiny amount of badmash persons in the prison of this material world who are not bona fide. So sometimes devotees say, Prabhu, I don't know how to find a bona fide guru, is this and this. The problem is not finding a bona fide guru. The problem is being a bona fide disciple. And I can't stress that enough. If we try to do everything in a mechanical way, and this is one of the dangers of the kind of institutional program that we have. I don't like to think of Srila Prabhupada's service or his society as an institution, although in some sense it is to some people, but I prefer to think of it as the Seva Sangha of Srila Prabhupada, the place of service and the place of association. So for some people, though, they just see it as an institution and they're lazy and they just want to come and have someone tell them what to do and how to go about things. And their motivation is not so pure. And so they're just looking at, when it comes time to find a guru, then maybe they'll go to Tukaram Prabhu because he's a great devotee and say, Tukaram, please tell me who my guru is. And Tukaram Prabhu, wanting to help the devotee, might even give some suggestion. And if you have a hard, if it doesn't work out right, then you might blame Tukaram, but don't blame him. You should blame yourself. Why would you go to someone with such a question? Would you go to someone and just say, I want to get married. Who should I marry? It's a relationship. In marriage, although it is still to this day in Orissa, many, or I don't know, maybe most of the marriages are arranged between the parents of the bride and the groom. Still, the boy and the girl want very much to meet. My Guru Maharaj, when he got married, the first time he met his wife was at their wedding ceremony. But I think that's not a very common thing today. It doesn't work like that. He had so much faith in his mother who chose a wife for him. But today, the boy and the girl meet because you don't want to just be told, even by your parents, who you're going to marry. It's the same thing with all relationships. You don't just go to school and say, I don't have any friends. And you go to the teacher and say, who should I be friends with? And the teacher looks down on a list of names and says, well, you should be friends with Dilip and Padmaksha. Those will be your friends. Okay. So you go to Dilip and Padmaksha. The teacher told me, sir told me that you should be my friend. Okay? What kind of friendship is that? But the same, we understand that intuitively. But why is it that we don't get it when it comes to guru? And so many people just want to go to someone to have them assign a guru to them. It indicates our laziness about spiritual life, our lack of faith. And if Tukaram Prabhu or someone else tries to help you out of compassion, so I suggest you go to this person or that, don't blame him if it doesn't work. He's just trying to help. And sometimes the devotees in our society are in a situation like that. And this is, I would say, a natural byproduct of the institution that we have, the system that was given. The system, my Guru Maharaj, he said sometimes that people, they want something, they want to make it easy. So Srila Prabhupada gave them this life membership program. And you can just become a member, you give a certain amount of money, and then you just think you're going back home, back to Godhead. So I'm speaking to you in a very, very frank way. I don't know, I may get in trouble with Tukaram Prabhu later on for this, I don't know, I hope not. But you may think in the same way, this IYF, it's just fantastic. I join and I chant 4 of these, I do 4 of these other things, I do this, and they'll just take care of everything for me. Don't be lazy like that, because we can do so many things, but we can teach you to fly a plane, but you have to fly the plane ultimately yourself. No one else can do that for you. We can provide education and suggest to you, tell you stories about great souls and the mood you should have, the way you should approach things. But you are going to be the one who's going to be tested by Krishna. So let me read to you a statement from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, which I consider to be very, very important in this regard. Let's see here. Maybe I can even, can I share on my screen? I don't know if I can or not. Let's look down here and share screen. Okay. So I'll go ahead and read this very beautiful statement. We made a little booklet some years ago called How to Find Guru. And this particular statement I consider so important, we didn't put it inside the booklet. Rather, we put it on the back of the book because this is the whole thing in a nutshell. So I'm going to read this to you, and it's a little kind of high-tech, old-fashioned English. And then we'll translate a little simpler and comment on it. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta wrote this in an article in the Harmonist magazine in 1929. And he said, at the dawn of our spiritual life, well, that means our with the beginning of our spiritual life. This is what our spiritual life begins with. And what is that dawn of it? Sincerity, submission, and self-surrender. Those three qualities. Those are the beginning of our spiritual life. At the dawn of our spiritual life, we sincerely and with complete submission and self-surrender. And in the fourth quality, we pray. We pray to God for receiving the protection of Sadguru. So this is the beginning of our spiritual life. We have to have some sincerity. And if you're just coming to IYF thinking, wow, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a degree in the college, but maybe I can just join the Hare Krishnas and I can make a career out of being a Hare Krishna devotee, and maybe someday I'll become the director of the IYF and life will be good. And I can make a career like that. If you're thinking like that, Krishna knows that we don't consider that to be sincerity. So at the dawn of our spiritual life, the real beginning, the sun rises when with sincerity, with complete submission, we submit ourselves to the Lord. In other words, whatever you give me, I'm going to accept. And self-surrender, we pray to God for receiving the protection of Sadguru. The Supreme Lord, perceiving our earnestness and devotion, okay, now Krishna is going to look, he's in your heart, he knows everything, and he can see how sincere you are, your earnestness, that means how sincere you are, and your devotion. He sees the quality that you have with a view to guide us on the true path, will send a real guru to us. So he'll send us a real guru according, Krishna says in the Gita, Yayatam mam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham. According to someone's degree of surrender to me, according to how they approach me, I reciprocate accordingly. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta is saying the same thing here, that seeing how sincere we are, how much devotion we have, and desiring to give us, to put us on the true path, he'll send a real guru to us. And then he says something really strong. Otherwise, it is impossible for us to find Sadguru. We won't find Sadguru, you'll find Sadguru. It's impossible for us to find Sadguru by our own fallible energy. By your own energy, it's not possible. Or by the energy of your best friend in the college, or by your parents or anyone else. You can't find Sadguru by your own fallible energy. He described again that the path to finding Sadguru is we pray to the Lord, and Krishna will see how sincere we are and he'll send us Guru. Bhaktisiddhanta says, if we guide ourselves by our own energy, we shall come across the pseudo-gurus. That means the bogus gurus, by our own energy, because Krishna sees what we want. We're acting like we're really a pure devotee, but in reality, we just want to have a nice girlfriend and take her to the movies. That's the real desire in our heart. And we just want to have a guru so that we can tell this pretty young girl that, yes, I'm initiated now. I'm a very sincere, very elevated spiritualist. So if we guide ourselves by our own energy, then Krishna will see, oh, he doesn't want me. That's not why he's going to guru. He wants something else. And they'll come across the pseudo gurus, the fake gurus, and being caught hold of them by their temporary pleasing manners will run down to hell. Their temporary pleasing manners means that there's a certain category of persons in this world who want to attract followers. We call them politicians. But also sometimes we see there may be some teachers like that in the university. There may be some people like that who want to be our friend. There may be some people like that who are looking for a husband or a wife. By their temporary pleasing manners means that they flatter you. They say nice things to you. But that's not the nature of guru. Guru will catch a hold of you by the ear and will chastise you. But we can't see guru. We've been speaking about this in our last session, these two principles, which are so very, very important, drashta and drishta. And we gave several stories about this, just to remind you. We spoke about one young man who came to the temple, the Hare Krishna temple in San Francisco, and he was asked to do some service. And they introduced him to the garbage man, and he worked hard all day long with the garbage man. And after working all day with that, he thought, God, the garbage man is the happiest guy I ever met. I want to become a Hare Krishna devotee. And then later he found out that that garbage man who was dressed in old, nasty Western clothes, jeans and t-shirt, that person was actually the temple president, and his name was Jayananda Prabhu. And that young man later got initiated. His name was Vatsal Prabhu, and he was my first temple president. He used to tell that story. And we told the story about another young man who approached Hanumat Prasad Podar, and I asked him, where can I please teach me about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? And he told him, I can't do that, but later A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami will come here to Gorakhpur, and you approach him. And so he went to meet Prabhupada, but he didn't find him. He just saw some old man. And the old man asked him, what are you looking for him for? I want to find someone who knows about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What do you want to know about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Well, he's God. No, he's not. And he started arguing with the old man. And then finally he came to find out that old man was actually Prabhupada, but he didn't recognize him. So many, many stories are there like that. We can't see who's guru and who's not guru. Once the devotees asked Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati a question. Let me put this on our screen also here. Very nice point. They asked him, where does a person find his guru? And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said that whoever Sri Krishna, the embodiment of compassion, chooses to send you as your guru, that person alone will manifest before you externally as the Mahant Guru, the guru in the form of the foremost living sadhu. By the mercy of Bhagavan, we will obtain a guru, and by the mercy of the guru, we will attain Bhagavan. So this is the principle. This is something mystical. When we use the word mystical in English or mysticism, mystical means when you have an experience of something otherworldly, something outside of this material world, something which is beyond all senses. You hear a voice from the sky, there's an Akashvani, you have a vision, you have this or that. So that's how we find guru. And in the book, When Good Fortune Arises, I have to show you this, something that I wrote a few years ago about the life of our revered spiritual master, Sri Srimad Gauragovinda Maharaj. He spoke to us, I'm just paraphrasing from what he said in the book, but Guru Maharaj said that I grew up in Orissa and I knew many sadhus. I knew many disciples of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And I was looking for guru. And I'd gone to them, but they weren't my guru. And then I left home and I went searching for guru. And he said, I went from the southernmost tip of India to the Himalayas, searching for guru. He said that in the Himalayas, I was going and staying in different places, like dharmashalas they had for the sadhus. And they were having some bandar, they were having some feast to feed the sadhus, and I would stay there. And there were many, many yogis there, and they were telling me many nonsense things, and I would preach to them, Harinama, Harinama, Harinama Eva Kevalam, because I was convinced that the guru that Krishna will send from me must have three things. He must teach about the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and he must teach about Srimad Bhagavatam. And the third thing is he must teach about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because those three things, this young man who previously had been known as Braj Bandhu, Sri Srimad Gauragovinda Maharaj and his Purva Ashram Nam, he grew up with these three things in his family, with the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and with the Srimad Bhagavatam. And so he had faith in these three things. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta goes on to say here, a person will get a guru according to his particular destiny. People of different types vary in their disposition, and therefore Bhagavan, who is omniscient, sends them each a particular type of guru. There are those who want Nishkapata Kripa, the real mercy of Bhagavan, and who depend entirely on Bhagavan for their eternal welfare. Being pleased with such simple-hearted, sincere persons, Bhagavan himself manifests before them as the guru to bestow mercy upon them. But those who want kapata kripa, sakapata kripa, the deceptive mercy of Bhagavan, Bhagavan's maya or external potency will send them a guru, quote guru, according to the particular disposition of their heart. There is no impediment for one who is sincere. He will very quickly meet a bona fide guru. There is no impediment. There's no impediment. There's no obstacle for one who is sincere. The only obstacle we have is our sincerity. Because some of us, though, we want some kapata kripa, sakapata kripa. We want mercy with cheating. We want a sadhu who's going to look very good, who's an old man with a big beard. We want someone who's going to solve our problems and touch us on the head so that we have great memories, so we can pass all of our classes in school, so that we'll become rich, so that we'll get a beautiful wife, so that we'll become famous. And we think this is the purpose of guru. So fine, that's very good. Krishna's in your heart. If that's what you want, that's what you'll get. But you'll become cheated. That's kapata kripa, sakapata kripa. That's the cheating mercy of the Lord. And the Lord's maya potency will send you a guru according to the particular disposition of their heart. So Braj Bandhu Manik, who later became known as Sri Srimad Gauragovinda Maharaj, my revered spiritual master, he was searching all throughout India for a sadhu. And he went to the Himalayas and people were speaking nonsense to him about Mayavad philosophy. He said, no, Harinama, Harinama, Harinama Eva Kevalam, and began to preach to them. And then he said, sometimes they told him, get out. So he said, very good, I'll go. And then he decided that if I want to find a sadhu, I have to go to Vrindavan. Vrindavan is Krishna's place. So he got on a train, he had no money. And the TT came and he told him, sir, I'm a sadhu, please let me go. And the sadhu let him ride in the train. He went to Mathura. And Guru Maharaj got down in Mathura and he went to different temples in Mathura trying to find someone. But he wasn't satisfied anywhere he went. Later, one of his friends told us that Guru Maharaj had told him he went to one Gaudiya Mutt temple there in Mathura. And he was staying there in the Mutt. And he wasn't very happy with the attitude, the mood of the devotees there. And there was some quarrel with them and he left that place. He said, no, this is not good. And then he came to Vrindavan and he said, I went to many, many different temples, but I didn't find. And then one day I was wandering around in the edge of Vrindavan, and I saw something I'd never seen before, a very chamatkar thing. I saw a Bideshi, a Westerner, who was wearing dhoti and tilak, who was wearing kunti mala. He said, I'd never seen like that before. And I went close to those people and I started speaking with them. And one of them gave me a magazine called Back to Godhead. And I opened the magazine up and I saw, there's the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And then I saw they have a whole section on Srimad Bhagavatam. And there's pictures of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I said, I would like to meet your guru. And they said, yes, our guru is A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And he's here now. Yes, I want to meet him. So Guru Maharaj went there. And at that time, Brahmananda Prabhu was Prabhupada's secretary servant. And he went to Brahmananda and he said, I would like to meet your Guru Maharaj. And Brahmananda went into Prabhupada. And Guru Maharaj told it like this. He said that I was dressed like a sadhu, but I wasn't a sadhu. And Guru Maharaj is a sadhu, but he was dressed like a sadhu. It seemed that he had some beard and some long hair. And the devotees, when he first came, they thought that he was a Mayavadi. Anyway, Brahmananda went in and he said, Prabhupada, there's some sadhu here who wants to see you. And Prabhupada said, yes, bring him in. And Guru Maharaj came in and offered his obeisances. And Prabhupada looked at him. First glance of his spiritual master. And then Prabhupada asked him, he said, have you taken sannyas? And Guru Maharaj said, no, I've not. And then Prabhupada said, I will give you sannyas. And then Guru Maharaj knew this is my guru. Not that Guru Maharaj wanted to take sannyas in the way we do sometimes in the institution, to get some position or something. But he had grown up in Gadai Giri, and that sannyas means, in according to the Lila Kirtan songs from Gadai Giri, that one becomes a prema bhikari, or a beggar of prem, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Guru Maharaj wanted to become a sannyasi like that. So when Prabhupada told him, I will give you sannyas, then Guru Maharaj said, I knew this is my guru, because he knew my heart, that this was my desire, that I should take sannyas and I should become a beggar of prem. This is my guru. And so he said, Krishna sent me guru. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, therefore, he says that a person will get guru according to their particular destiny. If someone wants Krishna, then Bhagavan, who's omniscient, he'll send them a particular type of guru. For someone who depends completely on the Lord, and they just want the niskapata kripa, the real mercy of the Lord, then he manifests before them as Sri Guru to give mercy to them. There's a beautiful description of this in the book Prema Vilas by the devotee Nityananda Das. Nityananda Das was a disciple of Janava Mata. His name was Balaram before he got initiated. And when he got initiated by Janava, the wife of Lord Nityananda, she gave him a pretty good name. She gave him Nityananda Das as a name. So in the 11th chapter of Prema Vilas, there's a conversation between Narottam Das Thakur and Lokanath Goswami. And Lokanath Goswami is telling him how someone gets the holy name. Mahaprabhur agya ache hari nama prati jivera rakshara lagi dibena samprati. He says that Mahaprabhu agya ache, he's given his orders, his instructions, how this Harinam should be given. Jiva rakshara lagi dibena samprati, for the protection of the living entities. Kota deha brahmi jiva nara deha pai tahara rakshara hetu mahashora chai. So kota deha brahmi jiva, that jiva, after traveling kota deha, so many millions of different bodies, nara deha pai, finally he gets a human body. Tahara rakshaya heta mahoshari chai. And for his protection, he needs some powerful medicine. So that medicine is given by Sri Gurudev. Manusha deha pana taha shakali sadiba. Nasadile sehi deha tema te paiba. He may be thinking that in this human form, sometimes they're thinking that I'm going to get everything, Manusha Dehapana, I'm going to get everything that I want. And if I don't get everything now, then I'll get some body later on. That's his problem. That's his entanglement. So if he gets real mercy, then Krishna appears before him in the form of a devotee. Hena roga jura kore Krishna bhakta rupe. Krishna nama dila hoina guru sharupe. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hena roga jura kore. So you have this rogue, this terrible disease. And Krishna solves that problem. Krishna Bhakta Rupe. Krishna comes in the form of a devotee. Krishna Nama Dili Hoyina Guru Swarupe. He assumes the form of Guru and he gives Krishna's names. So this is how we find Guru. Guru is a manifestation of Krishna. And when we cry and cry and cry to Krishna, piteously crying, my Guru Maharaj said, Krishna is in the heart, sees the heart of the devotee, and understanding the sincerity, then he sends a particular guru to that person. Guru sishe katahe shastrete achai jehataha jani se avashakoroi. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Guru Sishya Kata, a Shastrete Achai. These subjects about Guru and disciple, Guru Sishya Kata, a Shastrete Achai. They're there in Shastra. Jehi Taha Jani Se Avashya Koroi. Someone who understands this principle in Shastra, that I have to cry to Krishna to send me Guru, that Krishna will manifest as Guru, then that person, he adopts his process. But if you don't do that, Lokanath Goswami tells Narottam Das Thakur,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Shastra, hoy anubad, take her ani nahi tari Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Tahana Korile Shastra Hoy Anubad. One who doesn't understand the teachings of Shastra in this way. Te Karani Nahi Tari Krishna Prasad. They won't get Krishna's mercy. So we have to follow Shastra, we have to follow these principles which are given to us by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, by our gurus. Srila Prabhupada, in one conversation he had with one Irish poet named Desmond O'Grady. I'm trying to see, this is in Science of Self-Realization.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, your volume is reduced.
My volume's low?
Yeah.
Give me 1 second here. Thank you. Sometimes my computer does strange things. Yeah. Okay, that should be better now, huh? Okay.
Yes.
So, can you see this okay? Krishna will give you Guru, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So it's a conversation. This is in Science of Self-Realization. Prabhupada says the best friend is a spiritual master because he saves them from the blazing fire of confusion. And then Mr. O'Grady says, but the problem is how to find the spiritual master. And Prabhupada says, no, there's no problem. The problem is if you're sincere, you've got problems, but God is within your heart. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hridesya arjuna tisati. God's not far away. God is within your heart. So if you're sincere, then God will give you a spiritual master. He says, okay, thank you. I know that. Prabhupada says, therefore, God is called Chaitya Guru, the spiritual master within the heart. And the physical spiritual master is God's mercy. If God sees that you are sincere, he'll give you a guru who can give you protection. He'll help you from within and without. Without, on the outside, he'll help you in the physical form of the spiritual master, and within, as a spiritual master within the heart. So this is our principle. We have to depend on Krishna. That's how we find guru. But we don't have faith. And therefore, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, we were reading again from one of his instructions in one of our previous sessions. He says, unless one develops faith, and what will happen if you don't have faith? You won't be able to see a pure devotee or the Supreme Lord, and you'll be condemned. You're going to engage in just three types of activities. You will simply indulge in envious, violent, or blasphemous activities if you don't develop faith. And so we see in our society, there's so many things. ISKCON is a Kalpabriksha tree. A Kalpabriksha tree can give you anything that you want. So as my Guru Maharaj once told, I met one sadhu once at Imli Tal. He was a Gaudiya Mutt sannyasi. And I was giving a katha to some devotees. And after the katha, this sannyasi who was sitting and listening while I was speaking came up to me and he asked me privately a question, who is your guru? And I folded my hands and bowed my head and I said, Sri Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj. And he said, I thought so. He said, your Guru Maharaj is a very special Vaishnava. He said, I met him here. I was a young brahmachari and I came here to sit at Bakul and I saw some sadhu who was here, was crying and chanting very, very sincerely. And after some time, that sadhu noticed me and that sadhu told me, Sadhu Sabadan, hey, be careful. He said, this tree is a Kalpabriksha tree. And whatever you pray for here, you may get. So ISKCON is also a Kalpabriksha tree, or it's a branch of the Kalpabriksha tree. Prabhupada says it's a branch of the tree of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it can give you whatever you want. And Krishna knows what you want. So if you want a nice wife, if you just want to have a good education from a prestigious college, university, Krishna will give you that. But that's Sakapata Kripa. That's mercy with cheating. But if you're very, very sincere, then you get this Niskapata Kripa, which Srila Bhaktisiddhanta speaks about. And that comes when we have faith. We should develop that faith. If we don't have faith that there's a pure devotee, that Prabhupada can send someone, then you'll find even within our ISKCON society, which is a Kalpabriksha tree, and it has something for everyone, there's some people who will tell you there's no more pure devotees. Prabhupada was the last pure devotee. Or maybe some will tell you Gaur Govinda Maharaj was the last pure devotee, or Bhakti Charu Maharaj was the last pure devotee. And now Krishna's broke. He doesn't have any more money. He has no more pure devotees. You're just out of luck. So you should have faith that there's always a sadhu present. As we were quoting in our last session, Sangsara Vaishnavadi, Deva Vaishnava Palitaha. There's proof that there's always a pure devotee present. The proof is this material universe is existing. Deva Vaishnava Palitaha. Krishna says this to Arjuna in the seventh canto of the Padma Purana, that this whole universe is dependent on the presence of a pure Vaishnava. The demigods are nourished by that pure Vaishnava. He says, Aham cha Vaishnavadinas. I can't exist in the form of the holy name, in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, without the presence of a pure Vaishnava. Therefore, tasmat sheshtasya Vaishnava. The Vaishnavas are the best of all. So if you don't have faith like that, if you don't have faith that Krishna is real, and what is a symptom of the faith that Krishna is real? That Krishna can send me a pure devotee so easily. If you don't have faith, then you won't see a pure devotee because Krishna won't manifest him before you. You won't see the Supreme Lord. It means you won't see their hand in things. You won't see that Krishna is guiding me like this. And you will simply indulge in envious, violent, or blasphemous activities. And there are people like this even within our society. Because our society is such a wonderful society. It's so broad. It's meant for everyone. We're trying to catch up everyone. And everyone joins. And some people who join, they don't have faith. And some people, therefore, they become envious and they say, oh, there's no bona fide gurus. That person's not bona fide. They indulge in some violent activity or blasphemous activity. They criticize the pure devotees. So sadhu sabadan, you be very, very careful what you come to this society for. So Krishna will send us guru. It only requires that we're sincere. There's a wonderful book, one of my favorite books called Bhakti Ratnakara, which is published by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati in Bengali. I read a little Bengali. My pronunciation's not so good. You don't laugh at me when I'm singing and reading, please. I know. And there's a wonderful story in the 15th chapter of the Bhakti Ratnakara about a devotee whose name was Rasikananda. And Rasikananda, he had two wives. One of his wives is named Icha, a very, very good wife. And they were staying in Orissa in a place called Ghantasila, or what was previously Orissa, now it's in West Bengal. And the author of this book, Narahari Chakravarti, he describes there about the inner meditation of the Sikananda Prabhu. Ekadina murari nirjane basi tata chintaye antare sishya hoye bena kota. Ekdin, this Rasik, his name was Murari also, Rasik Murari. One day, Ekdin Murari, nirjane, in a secluded place, nirjane basi tata chintaye antare, he was thinking in his heart, sishya hoye bena kota. Whose disciple will I become? How can I find my guru? What can I do? Because you see, Rasikananda had joined the IYF. And it was nice. He was chanting Hare Krishna and they were coming together and taking prasadam and things. But he was thinking in his heart, who can I find as my guru? And he was chanting and praying to Krishna. And at that time, a very amazing thing happened. Hoila akashabani chintana koribe etaya shishamanandastani shishabe Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hoy akashbani. At that time there was an akashbani, a voice in the sky said, hey, chintana koribe, don't worry, don't be in anxiety. You've been a very sincere member of IYF. It's okay. Etai Shishamanandashtani Sishyahabe. You will become a disciple of the devotee named Sri Shamananda Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Volume again.
Yeah, there's some strange thing. Just give me a second. Thank you for telling me. Oh my gosh. Can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
I'll just keep this thing on. Somehow, sometimes when I start playing the keyboard, it does something in the recording, just the sound just goes down. Thank you very much. So if that happens, don't hesitate. Just come and tell me. So when he heard those words, Ihashuni Rashika Murari Hashahoila Shamananda Nama Mata Japi Tela Gila He Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Ihashuni. As soon as he heard that, Rasika Murari, Harsha Hoila, he became very, very happy. Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Shamananda Nama Manta Japiti Lagila. I'm going to get this japa, this nam japa. This Akashvani has promised me I'm going to get this from Shamananda Prabhu. And so Tile Ukanta Batai Atishoy. From that time on, he became his desire to get initiation. It grew and grew. Prabhu Shamananda Nami Netre Dharabai. Whenever you heard someone would say the names of Shamananda, because Shamananda was a very famous sadhu at that time, then tears would begin to flow from the eyes of Rasik Murari. He was very, very anxious. How am I going to find my guru? And that night, he was trying to take rest, and finally he fell asleep, and he had a dream. And in his dream, he saw the beautiful form of the devotee, Shyamananda Prabhu. And then Shyamananda began to speak to him. Hasi Ashi Shyamananda Kohi Murare Rajani Prabhate Eta Paiba Amare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare. He saw Shyamananda Prabhu. And Shyamananda Prabhu, Hasi Ashi Shyamananda Kohi Murare, with a big smile on his face. Shyamananda Prabhu, he told Murari, Rajani Prabhate Eta Paibe Amare. In the morning, you'll attain me. And then suddenly Shyamananda disappeared. And Rasikananda became very, very ecstatic. And then when that dawn came, Rasikananda, not saying anything to anyone, he was watching on the path. And then in the distance, he saw some little figures coming, some dust coming. And he saw them coming down the road. He saw Shyamananda Prabhu, surrounded by different disciples like Sri Kishore Das and others. And Shyamananda was so effulgent like the sun. There was a big smile on his face because Shyamananda in his heart knew, I'm about to get a very special disciple. And as he was coming, he was chanting the name Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda. And as he was walking, he couldn't walk properly. And he was swaying back and forth in ecstasy as Shyamananda moved forward. And when he saw him, Rasikananda became ecstatic. And he ran to him and fell down at his feet. And grabbing a hold of his feet, Shyamananda Prabhu then picked Rasikananda up and embraced him and made him wet from tears from his eyes. And Shyamananda very quickly gave mercy to that person who was known as Rasik Murari. And after that, he became known as Rasikananda. And he turned him over to the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. And then Rasikananda was crying and crying. And Narahari Chakravarti describes in this 15th chapter of the Bhakti Ratnakar that Shyamananda was watching Murari. And this is the way the guru will watch the disciple. It's a very auspicious thing when someone comes to guru and cries, and Maharaj, please help me. You're my guru. Please accept me. I want out of this material world. That pleases the heart of the sadhu. But it's not over at that time. In 1993, when my Guru Maharaj was traveling in America, I joined ISKCON in 1982, but I had a bad experience because I wasn't very careful. I accepted someone who later fell down as a guru. And then I heard something about Guru Maharaj, and I really, really wanted to meet such a person. Actually, before that, I'd been going to Srila Prabhupada's room every day in Los Angeles alone. And I had problems in my life. And I was sitting down in Prabhupada's room and I would chant japa and just cry. And I was crying buckets and buckets of tears and praying to Prabhupada, please help me. Please send me a guru. But I want a guru like you. I need someone like you. And it was shortly after that that a friend of mine said, I'm going to go and I'm going to drive to Canada from Los Angeles, a very long drive. And I'm going to meet a sadhu there whose name is Gaur Govinda Maharaj. Would you like to come? I said, yes, because I heard Guru Maharaj's lectures. Yes, let's go. And so I went there and I thought to myself, I'm going to be very careful this time. I'm not going to just jump in and get initiated right away. I'm going to watch this Maharaj very carefully. And I'm going to develop a relationship. And after maybe 2 or 3 years, I have a relationship with him. Maybe I'll ask him for initiation then. And I associated with Guru Maharaj for about 2 weeks. And I remembered a verse I'd read, a statement in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, in the first Vilas, where Srila Sanatana Goswami describes how you should be very careful and spend a few years examining Guru. He says, but if you find someone that you're convinced is a Mahabhagavat, then you can take initiation immediately. And so after 2 weeks, I approached Guru Maharaj and I said, Guru Maharaj, I'm an animal. I'm a beast, but I'd like to be your beast, your pasha. And Guru Maharaj, he laughed and said, yes, and he accepted me in that way. And so then shortly after that, Guru Maharaj went to Washington, D.C. I was with him. And he went to stay in the place of Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. And Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was someone, for some reason, I don't know, he liked me very much. And he used to give me a lot of mercy. And so when we were there, I was with Guru Maharaj. I went to see him one day. And I said, Maharaj, he asked me how I was doing. I said, Maharaj, I just asked Gaur Govinda Maharaj for initiation. And he agreed. And Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj became very sober. And he told me, he said, you should understand that this is the beginning. In one sense, you think this is the end of your search, but it's not the end. Initiation means to initiate or to begin something. So this is the beginning of your spiritual life. So in the Bhakti Ratnakar, it describes that after Rasikananda came to Shyamananda, it wasn't finished, but Shyamananda was very carefully watching him. And he seeing how sincere Rasikananda was about his practice of sadhana, his practice of chanting, his behavior, Shyamananda became very, very pleased. And then he wanted to shower his blessings upon him. So this is a big discussion we'll discuss later on, how it is that we get the mercy of Guru. But I'd like to stop here at this point. We have a little bit more time before we're supposed to finish. And I'd just like to ask the devotees who are present here, if you have any reflections, as my dear friend and Guru Jana, Vaisheshika Prabhu often comments, he said, did you win anything today? Did you win a prize? And what was the prize that you won? What are you walking away with? Was there some story, some verse, some idea, some thought, which really stuck in your heart, which you'd like to share? And that's a reflection. So I'd like to ask the devotees at this point, Amritesh Prabhu, Tukaram Prabhu, and all the other devotees here, if any of you have any reflection you'd like to share on our discussion today. Thank you very much. So Amritesh Prabhu, it seems like he's raising his hand. So, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you for sharing how you came to Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj. It was very touching. And as we read today, it is really indeed very much, we are getting more and more convinced that how a person, if he becomes sincere, then automatically he will get a guru. He doesn't need to go out and search who is having the identity card of a guru and let me accept him. So that is not the case. And same thing happened with one devotee. He is a Hindi-speaking devotee from Jharkhand. He was also looking for a guru, very sincere devotee. I saw him just before initiation, just after initiation. I met him. So I told him, he was sharing his story, and he told that I was looking for who can be my spiritual master, or whose disciple can I become. And I was very confused. He went to Mayapur with a team of devotees from his hometown. And in Mayapur, all of a sudden, just after the Tulsi Parikrama, His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj was there doing the Parikrama that time. And Maharaj calls him in the crowd. Maharaj indicates, you come. So he could not understand that why will I be called? I am in a karmi dress, not even a full devotee. I am not even chanting 16 rounds now. But why is he calling me? He was chanting means 8-9 rounds like that time. And then Maharaj sends his servant that called him. So then he comes, his servant comes and called him. And then Maharaj blessed him with his stick and gives him some little prasad and some object he had. So in this way, he understood that I don't need to search for my guru now. I have been searched out by my Guru Maharaj. So in this way, he confirmed it.
Krishna's in the heart. Krishna knows. I can't depend on myself even. I can't depend on my own senses, but we can depend on Krishna. Thank you, Amritesh. There's a couple of other devotees who have their hands raised. Who is that? Rasaraj Prabhu. Roshan. Roshan Prabhu, you had something?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandatnam.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, actually, I want to ask a question.
Go ahead.
Prabhuji, as you said that initially you had a bad experience regarding your guru in ISKCON. So in the between period, like between the starting of the experience and when you met Srila Gaur Gobind Sai Maharaj, in between that, what inspired you to stay in ISKCON?
Srila Prabhupada, because although I joined in Los Angeles, and I had some simplicity. I can't say that I was completely simple. If I was completely simple, then Krishna would have protected me. But I had some simplicity, and I just did what the devotees told me. And at that time, it was 1982. They told me, this is the zonal acharya, the zonal guru, and you take initiation from him. And I did, and I was given the name Nityananda Das. And I was there for some time. And then when he had problems, that guru, and he had some difficulties, he fell down from sannyas and he went away. I saw many devotees left, but I didn't leave because I had faith in Srila Prabhupada. I had faith that Prabhupada was present. And for 7 years, I tried to
Hare Krishna. हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, आप लोग को आवाज आ रही है? हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, there were some network issues.
Okay. What did you hear last?
7 years.
Yeah. So after my first initiating guru had some problems for 7 years, I just took shelter Prabhupada. And I was living in Alachua, Florida, with the devotees there and doing service and chanting regularly, 16 rounds and going to the program. I was in charge of festivals and I was part of the temple council and things, giving class regularly and things. But then Krishna gave me a big kick in my personal life. I had a very big kick. And so I went back to Los Angeles. And at that time, I started praying to Prabhupada. I was telling that story. And at one point, I went to visit a couple of very, very senior Prabhupada disciples, very senior, 26 Second Avenue senior Prabhupada disciples, who somehow liked me very much. I don't know why, but they were very affectionate to me. And I went to visit them, and there was 3 Prabhupada disciples in the room at that time. And somehow I happened to tell them that I'm thinking to take initiation again. And when I started telling them that, they didn't have faith in any of the gurus. And they started telling me I should just do like Ridvik kind of system and just take shelter of Prabhupada. And these persons are very, very senior devotees. I mean, even your other Prabhupada disciples, sannyasis, they wouldn't listen to them either. And who am I? I'm just a young devotee. So I was quiet for like 1 hour and they were all preaching to me. And for 1 hour, I was just quiet. And finally they said, so what do you think? And they were telling me I shouldn't take initiation from anyone. I should just take shelter of Prabhupada. And so then I was really on the spot. And I said, well, I really appreciate your affection for me. Thank you. And I also don't want a guru who's going to fall down. It caused me so much pain when that happened before. I said, but I've been taking shelter of Prabhupada for 7 years, and I'm not satisfied. I want what you have. And I pointed to one of them. And I said, Prabhupada sent you to a particular country to preach. And then I pointed to another one. Prabhupada sent you and gave you this instruction. And then you could go to Prabhupada. Prabhupada gave you instructions. Prabhupada chastised you. Prabhupada trained you. Prabhupada gave you service. I want the same thing. And I'm not going to be satisfied with anything less. And unless Srila Prabhupada comes to me in a dream or something, and he hasn't yet, and gives me mercy and gives me service and instructions and gives me a relationship with him, I'm not going to be satisfied. And then they were quiet for like 1 or 2 minutes. And one of them finally said, you're very sincere, Prabhu. And I'm sure you'll get what you're looking for. So that's what happened to me for 7 years. I was a regular ISKCON devotee. In fact, I was giving so many classes, you could ask the devotees in Alachua. There's more Prabhupada disciples in Alachua than anywhere else in the world, I think. And they were all giving class like once a month, or they were asking me to give class once a week because somehow the devotees liked my classes. I don't know why, but I had a very good position. I was very much accepted and respected in the society, but I couldn't solve my problems. Even though I was taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada and I was reading Prabhupada's books, following Prabhupada's instructions, being respectful to Prabhupada's disciples, but there was one thing that I didn't have from that I wanted. I wanted a service. I wanted a mission from a pure devotee. And that's what and Guru Maharaj somehow kindly gave me that. And he gave me the service he told me he should give classes. He told me I should make this magazine, Krishna Katamrita. We should print his lectures. He gave me that service. Is that okay, Roshan Prabhu?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Anyone else with any reflections or questions or anything? Or Tukaram Prabhu, do you want to add anything? I hope I'm not in trouble. Is that okay?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I like the point that Gaur Govind Maharaj approached Srila Prabhupada when Srila Prabhupada said, I'll give you sannyas. He was looking for sannyas, but what actually sannyas meant, that it was not some institutional position. He wanted to become Prem Bhikari. So that point actually touched my heart, because I was thinking for that for a quite long.
Uh-oh. Are you there?
Why he was always looking for sannyas. So what exactly sannyas meant? Today
Yeah.
I got to know that.
Yeah, if you read, we printed in the Gopal Jew book and also in When Good Fortune Arises, the story of Guru Maharaj's life and how he left home and how he was looking for Krishna, and he was inspired by this Leela Kirtan, and how Krishna became a Prema Bhikari, or a beggar of Prem, of Radharani's Prem. He became Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Guru Maharaj in his diary says, I want to become a sannyasi like that. That's the kind of, he had no conception of institutional sannyas because he wasn't part of the institution. For many people, sannyas means a big position in the institution. Let's be honest with it. But Guru Maharaj's conception of sannyas is, I want to become a beggar of Prem. And he wrote in his diary, he said, please, Gopal, please give me that Prem and let me give it to others. That was his desire. And so when Srila Prabhupada asked him, sometimes I stress that thing because I've seen sometimes some of my godbrothers, when they present the story of Guru Maharaj, they present it in a way that I don't find so inspiring, that Guru Maharaj just really wanted sannyas. He just really, like he wanted to dress in that color cloth, and he really wanted a stick. He really wanted that position. And that hurt my heart. That wasn't Guru Maharaj's purpose in coming. How can it be? He's not just trying to dress up in a costume. Like in America, they have Halloween, something, right? Okay, thank you, Tukaram Prabhu. Anybody else have any other reflections or comments? Or Tukaram, you have anything else?
Sangram was asking a question that what inspired to take you initiation from Gaur Govind Maharaj?
What inspired me?
To take initiation from Gaur Govind.
Well, I can tell you many different things. I can tell you, I see Sangram Prabhu's question. Thank you. He's asking, first of all, did I take initiation from a guru before Gaur Govind Maharaj? I took initiation from Rameshwar Prabhu, who was a very dear disciple of Srila Prabhupada, who got a lot of mercy from Prabhupada and who really worked so hard for the mission of Prabhupada. And he helped me. He helped me a lot. And to this day, I always offer my respect to him. But he had some difficulties at some point and he went away. Now he's practicing again. I didn't see him for over 30 years. And I was in New York and someone asked me to give class at the Bhakti Center. And so I go in to give class in the Bhakti Center and Vaisheshika Prabhu comes walking into the room. And I'm feeling very nervous. I have to give class in front of Vaisheshika. But Vaisheshika is a little close with me. He's my friend. Okay. Then Rukmini Mataji, Prabhupada's disciple, walked in. I'm feeling more nervous, but I'm also close with Rukmini. It's okay. And then Danadar Maharaj walked in. I'm even more nervous, right? I'm going to sit here and give him class in front of senior devotees. But I'm also, I do a yatra every year with Danadar Maharaj for many years. I'm used to him. So I was okay. And then someone else walked into the room, a little bit of an older person, and I was looking at him. And he looked a little familiar. And then seriously, the next thing that I knew, I was about 1 meter away from the Vyasasana. I just leaped off the Vyasasana. I was on my hands and knees offering obeisances. And that was Rameshwar Prabhu. And that was the first time I'd seen him in something like 30 years. And oh my God, I said, do you remember me? I was Nityananda. He said, yes. And it was a very difficult way to meet him again. I always appreciate him. And he served very nicely in Srila Prabhupada's mission. I'll always respect him and appreciate what he gave me. But I don't see him as my guru. What inspired me to take initiation from Guru Maharaj? How did I decide? Well, I could tell you that I was hearing classes from him and he was very shastric, but that's not the real reason. I could tell you that he was very effulgent, but that's not the real reason. I could tell you that I had a few friends who were glorifying him, close friends, and telling me he's a very special person, but that's not the real reason. The real reason, there was a dialogue going on in my heart. It was a very private thing, something I couldn't speak about with anyone else. I can tell you now. But I was going alone to Prabhupada's room every day and I was crying and crying. Prabhupada, I need someone. I can't do this on my own, but I need someone like you that I can have faith in. And I was praying and praying to Prabhupada like that. And later, when I met Guru Maharaj and he started speaking, I could hear a voice in my heart. And I knew this is my guru. He knows my heart. He understands me. This is my guru. Because Krishna, I feel Prabhupada was telling me that. So that's how I came to my Guru Maharaj. So Sangam Prabhu's asked a very important philosophical question. What is this rope you're wearing around your neck along with the Kunti Mala? Well, first of all, this cloth, this is Mahaprasad from Tota Gopinath. One of the pujaris gave me this. I always wear this for Katha. And this rope, with this little bit of red cloth on it, this rope is a silk rope that was used to tie Lord Jagannath to the chariot here in Puri. And one of the Mahants here in Puri gave this to me as a gift. And this red cloth is actually part of Jagannath's body. He has 7 different layers to his body. And another servant of Jagannath gave me this. So I always keep these things close with me. Okay, I hope that's okay, Sangam Prabhu. And let's see, I want to go on. Padmaksha Prabhu is asking something. Let me just add you here. So
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
So I want to share something reflection from your lecture, today's class. So the point is that by our own energy, we cannot found the Sadguru, a real Guru. So I remember once I heard a lecture of Gaur Gobind Swami Maharaj that he told a point that कृष्ण कृपा कइले गुरु मिले गुरु कृपा कइले कृष्ण मिले. So I relate this point, and also I remember a chopai from Sri Ramcharitmanas that there Goswami Tulsidas wrote the Binu Satsanga Vivek na hoi Ram Kripa Vinu Sulabh na soi. Without the mercy of Ram or Supreme Personality of Godhead, we cannot found the devotee association. So I relate this thing that without the mercy of Krishna, by the mercy of Krishna, we stay, get the opportunity to stay in devotee association, get the nice association or sadguru.
Wonderful. And isn't really that the essence of IYF? IYF, I was saying things about institutions, and if someone has a very external vision, they can think that, oh, IYF is this formal group and they have this formula like this and this, but that's not IYF. IYF means Prabhupada's followers who are reaching out to people, and people are getting good fortune to come in contact with devotees. That's real IYF, ISKCON Youth Forum, when we come together in our sincerity. But thank you, Padmaksha Prabhu. And let's see, someone else has their hand raised. I'm not so expert with this. Sangram Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Sangram. Go ahead, Prabhuji. I can't hear you. You're still muted. Sangram Prabhu, you're muted. Yeah, you go. But I can't hear you still. I don't know, is that the connection is bad? I can't hear anything he's saying. Can you hear me? Tukaram, can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can hear you, but we cannot hear Sangram.
Okay, Sangram Prabhu.
Here now,
Now we can hear you.
Prabhuji, I like the point that we cannot get Guru by our own endeavor, but we have to pray for Guru. And some philosophical point here is that we cannot recognize a one man of lower consciousness cannot recognize a man of higher consciousness, but a man of higher consciousness can recognize a man of lower consciousness.
Yes.
So a guru, and we always live in a fallen condition state. So guru is of a higher consciousness and elevated personality. So we cannot recognize who can be my guru, and we by our false intelligence, by our poor intelligence, we cannot also find guru. So by we what we can do is that we will pray to Krishna, and will pray to Krishna for give that wonderful personality, Guru, in our life, and take give the shelter. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sangam. You got it. That's a very beautiful comment. I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you, Prabhu. So let's see. Hare Krishna. Dilip Prabhu, you had something? Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Pranam. Am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, Prabhuji. 2 points I want to make. The things that I am taking in today's class is like one point you have started with the class is that it is very difficult. It is not actually difficult to get a bona fide guru, but it is being actually difficult to be a bona fide shishya, disciple. That is very difficult actually. And nowadays, I always hear about discussion of who is a bona fide guru, and in temple and in association of devotees, who is find glorification of lot of pure devotees. But the best thing is that when I was hearing some lectures of Sri Srimad Guru Govinda Goswami Maharaj was discussing about the relationship between Ramanujacharya and his disciple Kushanji, how Kushanji worked for Ramanujacharya. That inspired me a lot. And the second point that you made is Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that 3 things you said: complete submission, sincerity, and self-surrenderness. That is the key point to be in Krishna consciousness. And when you serve Krishna with complete submission, sincerity, and self-surrenderness, Krishna will send your guru to you, and he will deliver.
Yes. And everything will be okay. There's no problem. Not from COVID, not from any political problems or any problems whatsoever. Krishna will take care. Thank you, Dilip. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay. So Tukaram Prabhu, should we stop there?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Thank you.
So thank you all very much. I didn't think we were going to have any connection there. Oh, looks like Sangha Prabhu made some comment. Okay, I've also seen senior devotees, sannyasis, they wear some type of colorful mala on the neck. A lot of devotees wear, they call it a Nishringa kavacha. It's not actually a kavacha, but they wear some prasadam mala, which is offered to Lord Nishringadev in Mayapur. Sometimes from some in South India, some devotees wear like that. Okay, so we'll meet again next week then. Is that okay, Amritesh Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
I really want to, Tukaram Prabhu and Amritesh Prabhu, I really want to thank you so much for serving your Guru Maharaj in such a wonderful way, and for creating such a wonderful sangha of devotees in IYF and Bhubaneswar. I just can't thank you enough. It's just so wonderful what you've done. Thank you, thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveda Bhakta Binda ki jai. Bhanta Kalpaduru Bishcha, Kripa Sindhu Vyeva Cha, Patitanam Pavani, Vaishnava Namo Namaha. Ananda Koti Vaishnava.
Jai.